Hey, y'all.
Hola, welcome to 30 Minutes Down South. She's Allison.
And he's Carlos, and we are two top producing realtors
with two extremely different Southern upbringings.
Join us each week as we explore the Lake Murray area with our special guests.
And welcome, Allison, to 30 Minutes Down South.
Thank you, Carlos. Is this your new radio voice?
Now, welcome, Allison, to 30 Minutes Down South. How you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Awesome.
We're starting to experience a nice spring weather, and I'm very excited about it. Baseball is in full force. Summertime is around the corner.
Spring
cold weather is
starts
gone.
Friday. I don't think cold weather is gone. It's going to pop back up.
Well, come on, Allison. Let's cheer. Let's cheer for warm weather.
I'm just being realistic.
I know you're a warm weather girl.
You know I am.
Allison, tell me something about our next guest. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk a little politics today.
Ooh.
Very
Is
hyper
Donald
local.
Trump coming here?
No, we're not that good.
Is he not answering your text messages
He
again?
is not. I've tried. But I was able to get...
I know when he used to sleep in your DMs, right?
What? Stop. You're going to have to cut that.
Why? I'm not going to cut that.
You're going to cut that.
I'm not going to cut that.
Yes.
Donald Trump never DM you?
No.
All right.
Not that famous.
Why are you blushing?
It's hot in here.
I'm not cutting it.
Okay. So we were able to get Jason Resnick, who is going to be running for Lexington County Council.
Yeah, JJ Rez. I've seen. Have you seen his work? Have you seen his? I see his truck everywhere.
Well, we drive on his work when we, when we come to the office.
That's a good point.
Yes,
See, you're smart
I know,
sometimes.
occasionally.
Yeah. So he built our driveway right here.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk to him.
All right.
And welcome, Jason Resnick, JJ Rez, correct?
Yes, sir. How are you today, Carlos, Allison?
Doing well. Thanks so much for taking the time to come on and speak with us today.
All right, JJ. Let's start by introducing yourself for those that don't know you. Who are you? What do you do for the community? And how long you've been doing it?
Okay. As you said, my name is Jason Resnick. I am a 21-year resident of right here in Lexington County in the Chapin area. I own and operate a construction business. The name of it is JJ Rez, LLC, focus on concrete construction. Prior to doing so, I had a career in public service for approximately 25 years, paid and volunteer.
What specifically is that doing what?
Well, I worked in emergency medical services. I also worked in paid positions as a firefighter and, in dispatch communications.
All right, great. Well, thank you. We appreciate anybody giving time back to the county. So that
JJ, tell me a little bit about your concrete company, your building company. Actually, I'm looking at the work you did here in our parking lot, and it looks great. So you're coming from the firefighting to working on concrete. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, in 2006, I opened I'd opened a construction business. Mm-hmm. We kind of, piddled with decks and porches and garages and, kind of carpentry type stuff. Around 2010, I met some people that knew how to do concrete. And it was at that point you learn that you're not going to be able to do everything and do it great. So focus on one thing and make customers happy and you'll be successful. So from around 2010 to modern day, we have kind of stuck with just, concrete and masonry type work. And every once in a while, we'll get into other odds and ends type things. If you drive around Chapin, aside from your parking lot, if you drive by Zorba's, we recreated his parking lot about 3 years ago. Corrected a lot of issues over there. And if you go further down 76, you see the new 518 Smoke. We did the foundation work and the cabanas out there and the back patio at Smoke. So while you're enjoying some barbecue, you can kind of poke around and check it out.
Well, I haven't checked it out yet, but it's definitely on my list. So you're obviously a familiar face in the area, but we have you on here today to not just talk about your concrete business, but why you're jumping into the realm of politics in Lexington County.
Well, social media is something that, most of us get roped into and follow, and, marketing, and look at referrals and give referrals, and look at reviews and give reviews, and just, it's part of daily life. And, in the last year, after stepping away from my public safety career, I kind of got back into it, and reading some of the things that were going on here in the community, and how public safety in the Lexington County area had, especially Chapin, had taken a decline. And I started poking around and talking to people I used to work with, and kind of vetting the sources, and found a lot of it to be true.
Now,
well,
I'm going to stop you real quick, if you don't mind. Can you expand a little bit on that, about what you mean about the decline in public safety in the area? Because I know there have been some specific topics that have come up over the last year, especially.
So through the, Nextdoor application, and through Facebook and so on and so forth, there was, groups of people or individual residents that kind of had brought to the forefront, that there was, an hour to get an ambulance, 45 minutes to get an ambulance, an hour and 20 minutes to get an ambulance. And these groups started having meetings out there in Timberlake, and they're drawing, 100 to 150 people from the community, telling their stories, in coming forward and telling their stories about these prolonged responses. So in doing my research, the last 8 or 9 years in the Chapin community have become very, difficult. And I mean, of course, COVID pushed, as we all know, with everything, COVID pushed society into an overdrive. I mean, you have a larger influx of people moving to the Lexington County area, the Midlands, the state, and you don't have the services or the infrastructure in place to handle that influx of people that is moving here. So to get back to the point, all these things were true that were being said, and when you get to the bottom of it, the county has not kept up with the growth.
Okay.
The amount of vehicles and so on and so forth. The pay scale that the county was offering was much less than other places around here. There was just a lot of flaws in the system. At one point 20 years ago, you had a line of people waiting to take a job, where today you don't have a line of people waiting to take a job in public safety, or in a lot of other, construction or anything else. I mean, we see it every day. So I had gotten involved and, written some letters to the entire council, my wife and I did, and didn't seem to really get much of a formidable response.
Now, is that something that you think is a county-specific problem, or is more like a nation? Is it because one of the solutions that I heard is that they're implementing something like free education for nurses, for example, just to throw out there in there. So the question again, is that something that is very, very localized, or we can blame COVID or influencers or YouTube or, that stuff?
So you can look at a nationwide standpoint and say, yes, we have a problem everywhere. But living here in Chapin, South Carolina, are we concerned if they can get an ambulance in, Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, or, Burlington, Vermont? We're worried about Chapin and Lexington County, South Carolina. And certainly, whether I'm a business owner or a politician, to set the bar that low and say, well, it's a problem everywhere. As a business owner, every job you do in concrete might not be a 10, but we're not shooting for a 5. We'd be happy with an 8 or 9.
Gotcha.
So, with that being said, I think there's things that we could do better. As far as why I jumped into politics, when you start digging and seeing, and you don't like the things that you see, you hope that you can jump in there and do better than the last person and bring it to the next level. So it became an issue of not just public safety. There's other things around the community and the county that I would hope to change.
Gotcha. Do you have experience in politics at all, or you're just like, let's see how this goes?
Zero experience in politics, but I've hired a extremely incredible campaign manager and team to lead me in the right direction. And they said that they are seeing people now that never thought they would be in politics, that have zero background, that they are guiding, and it's for the same reasons that I'm jumping in the ring and trying to make things better.
I admire anyone that's willing to do that. I have a close friend who ran in an election a few years ago, and it's not for the faint of heart. You've got to have thick skin and deep pockets. It's not cheap, even local elections. So you must have put a lot of thought into this before you made that decision.
I think that I've looked at all sides of it before making that decision, and my wife has been a huge help and inspiration, and a team player. But the community has also stepped up and donated a substantial amount of money towards the campaign, because they have the same sentiment that I do about the direction that the county's heading in. And like I said, it's not just public safety issues. You get into small business, and you have to be able to work with your small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of our county and our state. Over-regulating and not working with people. The county has twisted business owners' arms to doing extensive landscaping, extensive shrubbery. And we're not talking about new construction. We're talking about existing construction. I understand a new building having to meet certain standards, but I mean, when you take something that's been out of business 2 or 3 or 4 times, you put a successful business in there, and the business is exceeding expectations to come and start with all these rules and regulations. You got to work with people. You got to listen to what people have to say, and not force business owners into a bad financial position.
So you will be advocating for lesser government in the council, correct?
Absolutely. I think more of a common sense government. You need to worry about the front yard before you get into the backyard or the side yard. The Brighton Industrial Park, as y'all know, being up here in Chapin, the county started investing money in that 12 years ago, and you still don't see the first business.
Still sitting.
Yeah.
Still sitting. I mean, you had news articles 6 years ago, 7 years ago, of 16, 18, maybe $20 million tied up in the industrial park. And what would 16, 18, $20 million, be today with no to move forward?
When going extra local, I mean, that subject has been brought up. Actually, we had a conversation with the mayor, with current mayor Al Kuhn, and he gave us his point of view of what's the major holdup. And he touched a subject about the relationships between the town of Chapin and the Lexington County. So obviously my question to you is regarding those relationships. How well do you know what's going on with the town of Chapin and the people involved in those decisions?
So in following the newspaper articles and following the media and listening to Mayor Kuhn, there is a battle right now between all of the municipalities and the county of Lexington about a road maintenance agreement that was canceled, a month or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. And basically the county is saying that if you don't follow our standards, we are going to not maintain said roads. And, it's escalated from the county municipal standpoint to the state legislative delegation got involved in it last week. And, every town needs to be able to answer for themselves. I mean, the people of Chapin shouldn't be able to tell the people of Swansea or Pillion or Gaston or South Congaree what they can and can't do. Just like those people shouldn't condictate what we do or we want up here. I think you also need to bring people to the table and speak to them before you arbitrarily do something. I mean, this whole thing kind of was proposed and came out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
Never brought anybody to the table and say, hey, this is a 45-year-old agreement. We need to look at it. A letter was sent out and it was, canceled. And here's a contract, sign the contract. If you don't like it, tough luck. I mean, government doesn't work that way. I mean, our society doesn't work that way. We have choices.
It does. And I'm very big on local government and staying local and staying as small and freedom as possible, because at the end of the day, public services work for the public, not the other way around. And when you look at news from Washington and look at how politics have been evolved in the last 10 years, I've been in this country for close to 20 years now, and I have seen the evolution of getting the political as a different class as a regular people. You know what I mean? Saying if you are a representative of the Senate, you're in a higher level than normal people. And that's just plainly wrong, in my opinion. Yes, you're doing work for all of us, but we are the same. We have to abide by the same rules. We have to abide by the same premises. We actually want to have the same goals, So to see politics involved in the detriment of community is something that I just can't understand why, and part of that problem is to have, people think that sending a tweet or putting a post on Facebook, I already did my part, and we all know that that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So my question is, what's your stance regarding that aspect, and how do you think that you can get more people involved into what's happening with the community?
With the campaign team, we are targeting 10% of the population that we feel is going to vote in the primary come June, based on data that we have. Speaking to that 10% of the population, these are people that generally vote in these kind of primaries, and they don't even know who their county council is or what their county council does. And I mean, that's a sad state of affairs. So no less do they not know who they are, they don't even know the issues that we have spoken about previously in this discussion. And unfortunately, people don't know anything until it affects them, until there's an issue that affects them. And then, some people accept mediocrity and some people speak up about that issue. As far as, getting out and getting people involved, I think as a politician or a council member, I think it's important to get out in the community. I think it's important to host functions. I think it's important to host community events. Just like you dropped, Mayor Kuhn's, name. I mean, you see him cutting ribbons and shaking hands and kissing babies and, having a beer at Lazy Creek with the Chamber of Commerce on a Wednesday night. I mean, certainly his face is all over the community. And I think that's the kind of politician that I would aspire to be.
So you mentioned that most people don't get involved or don't care really until it directly affects them. And I think that all the residents of Lexington County right now are being directly affected by the substantial growth that we have seen over the last 4 to 5 years. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
So I think that you need to have, I know that you need to have controlled growth. I mean, you can't just build a house or tract homes or multifamily homes on every square inch of property here in Lexington County or any other, county in general. I think that there needs to be a negotiation between the council and the builders about, how many houses, how many units they can do in the course of a year or a 5-year or a 10-year plan of what is feasible. I think that obviously our infrastructure is so behind, and so, things that should have been done 15 years ago, they'll be getting to in the next couple of years. As far as the builders go, I mean, that's not necessarily their fault. It's the county and the state that haven't done, their job. I think one of the other things is when we talk about money and financial burden, impact fees are something that should be looked at, and it's something that should have been looked at years ago and negotiated with the builders. The work that they are doing is bringing rooftops, and rooftops generate tax revenue. These people that are moving here from other places, driving a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 vehicle, they're not thinking twice about paying property taxes on it. Spending money in the restaurants, which is generating more tax revenue, spending money in our, businesses or small, the mall or small businesses, generating more tax revenue. The county has more commercial development than it ever did. And, everybody says it's commercial that generates revenue, generates the real tax money. I mean, if we have more people, more vehicles, more commercial, more residential, why are we not in a better place than what we are right now? I mean, why are we broke and, not scratching the surface in what we need to be doing as a county?
What do you think is the answer for that question?
As far as
where is the money?
We'll have to get to the bottom of that. We'll have to get to the bottom of that. Like I said, you have more money and more residents and deeper pockets than you ever did. I mean, where's the money going? I think, smaller government. Should we be working on fixing our roads or working on expanding the runway at the Pillion Airport? I mean, should we be, staffing more ambulances or fire stations or building hangars at the Pillion Airport? The government needs to stick with the core focus of government, infrastructure, public safety, education, those kind of, doing the things that you can't do for yourself.
Yeah, and let the other things grow by itself. Like it's very hard to disagree with that idea. At the end of the day, that's a foundation. I mean, you're a foundation builder, so that's the foundation of a community.
When we brought up the issue of Brighton, and you think about Brighton, if that was private enterprise, you would have seen buildings up all over that in a timely fashion, and it would have been generating revenue. Mm-hmm. No developer is going to sink that kind of money in and not be generating revenue, or else they wouldn't be a developer very long. Mm-hmm. Only the government can you go in and sink that kind of money and, hold the bag for that long on the taxpayer's dollar with no answers.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's another county in our state that did something very similar, and it's sitting in the same way. And you pointed out, I didn't think about it. Had it been a developer who had invested all that money, it probably would be filled right now.
We need to stick to our core functions, and we need to stick to what we're good at.
That's right. JJ, when is election date, and what events do you have moving forward that people can go and meet you or greet you and all that stuff?
So as far as voting goes, voting starts early, May 28th through June 7th. The actual primary date is June the 11th, and that will be at the respective polling places.
Okay.
As far as events goes and contact information, you can like and follow the campaign at Facebook, Rez for Lex. The website is also rezforlex.com, and you can send emails to rezforlex@gmail.com, or you can call me at 803-722-8678. We're going to be hosting some functions at places like Lazy Creek tap room. We're going to do something down in the Irmo side of the district. We haven't set those dates, but I mean, it'll probably be closer to, the May timeframe.
And JJ,
people can.
Rez is R-E-Z as Zulu, right?
R-E-Z.
All right, perfect. Okay.
Or .com.
Gotcha.
People can feel free to reach out to me. I mean, I'd be more than happy to meet them for coffee or, whatever at one of our fine local establishments and discuss whatever they would like to discuss, or whatever their personal agenda, their personal concerns for our community is. One thing that I see, people have to interject. Well, you only know public safety. There's a lot of things that I know. It's just that public safety is one of the things that we're struggling at, and I think it needs to be addressed first. As a politician, y'all talked about, term limits was one thing you were joking about. You don't want to get in there and have 500 things on your agenda in 4 years and accomplish none of them. I think you need to dial into what you can do and what's going to be the most impactful and stick with that. It is government. It's not private enterprise.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you for being so open and willing to come on and talk with us. And maybe we'll have you on again right before the primaries and see how it's going.
Absolutely. Thank you, JJ. Is there anything you want to finish with? Any untouched subject or any ideas you want to bring up to people?
Final
thoughts? People need to educate themselves with what is going on in the community, and people need to pay closer attention. And, you and I, Carlos, when we spoke a couple weeks ago, there was definitely things that, I brought to your attention that you weren't familiar about. And it's good that, you were open-minded, and hopefully the rest of the community will be open-minded and receptive also. And, we can make change in the community and the county and for the best.
Amen, brother. Amen.
All right. Thanks so much,
you, JJ.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
And that was JJ Rez.
Yes. It was great hearing from him and his thoughts on Lexington County and some things that could be done to improve it. I think there's always room for improvement everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always room for improvement. And, again, like, this is not a bashing to the whole administration. There's always room for improvement. Don't necessarily mean that you were bad before.
No.
Or you're going to be good. And I believe that Charlie's also running. So
Charlie
she can
Wessinger.
improve. Mm-hmm. She can improve on her past. I mean, like, I believe that was she won. Good things that we're going to have here next week. Yes. She's going to be able to tell us a little bit. But let's focus on JJ right now, okay? What do you like the most about him?
I feel like he's very down to earth, mm-hmm. and he's kind of just a man of the people. Mm-hmm. And I like that, as we were talking afterwards, that he was saying, you can't do 500 things. You've got to really pick one or two that you're going to focus on to make that change. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where a lot of politicians fail, is they try to make too many changes at one time. So I like that he's really honing in on what he thinks are the big items that need to be improved upon. And those are the ones that he's going to put his primary focus into.
And I want to think that that's tied up to his background as a firefighter, task-oriented.
Yes.
You go from one task, you finish that task, and go to the next, and go to the next. I mean, do you imagine a firefighter going through 25 different times when there's a house on fire?
Yeah.
I mean, no. Get the fire first,
right?
Then you do the other things around. And also his business side. So it is a very, 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 very interesting combination on entrepreneurship, knowing how hard it is to run your own business, mm-hmm. Knowing how to go through all the difficulties, also being part of the government I think it's a very, very, very interesting mixture of elements in there. I haven't made my mind yet of who am I going to vote with, and
we'll
probably
see what Charlie has to say next week.
Exactly, we want to hear it. We already hear what she had to go through doing
all the changes.
And the difficulties that she experienced, because it's not an easy thing to be a public servant
No, and I meant what I said to him in the beginning. Like, I'm thankful for people who are willing to do it because I do not have thick enough skin to put myself out there.
Yeah, and it's the thick skin. I mean, you're never going to be able to please everybody.
Never.
Even if you're doing it with your best intentions, even if even if you reach your goals, there's going to be people out there that are going to hate you for reaching your goals.
Right, they're going to have different goals than you do because everybody comes from a different motivation, different place of motivation. Yeah. So, but that was great. I enjoyed getting to talk with him. We know him on a business level, but to hear what he's bringing to the table for Lexington County was really great.
Would you ever consider running for a position in the government?
Absolutely not. I know my place.
Yeah,
and
you'll
it's
be
not the government.
How about VP of the United States?
Hey,
you look like a good VP of the United States. Yeah,
okay.
Why not?
Well, if it comes with an award.
And glitter.
And glitter. A crown, maybe. Maybe I should move to Great Britain instead.
And be a princess?
Be a princess, yeah.
All right, off topic. Anyway,
totally off topic.
I think that we have 30 minutes on the nose right now. Very interesting conversation. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I think he brought a lot of good subjects. And when you listen to stuff like that, it also resonates in yourself. Say, wait a second. Yeah, you know what? This is actually an issue. This is actually a problem. This is something that it could be fixed. This is, give you a different angle to look at things.
I think it's always good to look at things from different perspectives.
That's the best way. Hopefully we can get into an agreement and, hopefully people can make a good decision on who's going to be representing our
Lexington County.
Anyway, 30 minutes on the nose. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed as much as we did.
Bye.
Bye.
You said 30 minutes on the nose 5 minutes ago.
You know me and time is...
Oh, it's 12:30.
Yeah.
All right.